Imagine this scene. The alarm clock rings. You press the snooze button once, twice, 3 times. When you finally get up, you feel a mixture of haste and discouragement. You check your cell phone in bed, gulp down your coffee, and start thinking about the 300 things you have to do. You have just turned on autopilot. Did you know that if you wake up and immediately throw yourself into the whirlwind of news, emails, and worries, you are literally programming your brain for stress? Many people live like this. They spend their days putting out fires, feeling exhausted by the end of the afternoon and asking, "Why can't I have a peaceful and productive day?" The truth is that most of us miss out on the golden opportunity that each day offers. And that opportunity isn't in the hours you spend working. It's in the first 5 to 20 minutes after you wake up. If you also believe that 5 minutes can change your day, but need a roadmap to get there, do the following. Click on the sign up button now and activate the bell. This way, you can be sure you won't miss a single step of this mental and spiritual calibration routine. Your transformation starts here. Your day is like a radio. To hear the right music, peace, focus, joy, patience, you need to tune into the right frequency. If you turn on the radio and it's already tuned to noise and static, that's what you'll hear all day. The purpose of this video is simple and straightforward. To help you use the first few minutes of your day to do a spiritual and mental calibration. It is a practical method based on ancient principles of faith and, amazingly, on recent studies in neuroscience. From now on, you will discover how a simple act of surrender and gratitude can take you out of fight or flight mode and put you in peace and power mode. It's not about spending hours on your knees, although that's great. It's about quality, not quantity. You only need 5 minutes of intentionality to tune your mind into the heart of God. When you start your day by recognizing who God is, surrender, and what He has already done, gratitude, you are not just praying, you are reducing cortisol, the stress hormone, activating the frontal lobe, the area of the brain responsible for planning and decision-making. Setting priorities, you put your source of strength first. Throughout the video, we will demystify what happens in your body and mind when you wake up, and how to transform that moment, step by step, into a sacred and powerful ritual. Get ready to stop reacting to your day and start creating it. To begin this journey, let's delve into the concept that is the basis of everything. Dawn is the most important period. In part 2, we will dive into the science of dawn, understanding why your brain, in the first few minutes, is a sponge ready to absorb whatever programming you give it. You will understand the difference between being in the beta state, the stress of the day, and the alpha and theta states, the creative and connected state. Your transformation begins now. Are you ready to get off autopilot? Why does the morning define our day? The morning brain, the secret superpower. We often think that the morning is just the time to wake up the body, but in fact, it is the most crucial time for programming your brain. If you understand what happens inside your head in the first 20 minutes, you will never want to waste them again. Let's translate complex science into simple, straightforward language. The alpha state is the gateway. When you wake up, your brain doesn't immediately go from deep sleep to full wakefulness. It makes a slow transition, going through stages that are a goldmine for your faith and motivation. Delta and theta states, deep sleep and dreaming. While you sleep, your brain operates at these slow frequencies. Alpha state, the magic bridge. This is the frequency that occurs immediately before and after you wake up. What is it? Slow brain waves, 8 to 12 cycles per second. Why is it crucial? It is a state of awake relaxation. The gateway to the subconscious is more open. It is the moment when the mind is most suggestible and creative. Recent studies in neuroscience and meditation, which has direct parallels with contemplative prayer, show that the alpha state facilitates learning, visualization, and anxiety reduction. When you pray with faith in this state, the words and feelings you generate take root more deeply in your subconscious. If you jump straight into the beta state, the stress of the day with rapid and often negative thoughts, you miss the opportunity to program your mind at the deepest level. The 5 minutes of surrender and gratitude done in the alpha state are an anchor that stabilizes your day before it begins. The cortisol drama. Have you ever woken up with that feeling that something bad is going to happen, even though there is nothing wrong? This has a name. Morning cortisol spike. Cortisol is known as the stress hormone. It is essential for waking up because it prepares your body for action by raising blood pressure and releasing sugar into the bloodstream. The problem is not cortisol itself, but how it is directed. What most people do, they wake up, pick up their cell phone, read bad news, remember a debt, or engage in mental discussions about problems. The result? Your brain interprets this avalanche of stressful information as imminent danger. Your cortisol spike shoots up even higher, and you spend the day in fight or flight mode. Your body is tense, your patience is short, and your energy is drained as you are chemically preparing to run from a predator that does not exist. This is where the practice of faith aligns with biology. Surrender. When you pray, surrendering your worries to God, you are sending a clear signal to your nervous system. I am safe. I don't need to control everything. Gratitude. Intentional gratitude is one of the most powerful antidotes to cortisol. Studies show that focusing on what is good and what you are grateful for increases the release of dopamine, the pleasure and reward hormone, and serotonin, the happiness and well-being hormone, actively decreasing cortisol production. In 5 minutes, you are not just praying. You are reprogramming your internal chemistry. You are transforming a morning of guaranteed stress into a morning of guaranteed peace. You are replacing fear with faith and chaos with emotional control. The connection, mind, body, and spirit. Our main theme is faith, but faith does not operate in a vacuum. The strongest faith is that which considers the reality of your body and mind. The effect of intention on the body is when intention is key. When you wake up and set the intention to seek God, you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, instead of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight system. What faith does for you? First, inflammation reduction. Chronic stress, high cortisol, causes inflammation, which is linked to numerous diseases. A morning practice of faith and peace acts as a natural anti-inflammatory. Cardiac coherence. Research on cardiac coherence shows that emotions such as gratitude and love generate a more harmonious heart rhythm. This rhythm sends positive signals to the brain, improving cognitive function and mood. Prayer and devotion are powerful generators of these emotions. A new point of reference. Instead of your point of reference being the chaos of your schedule, it becomes the heart of God. This creates a foundation of stability that cannot be shaken by the unexpected events of the day. This is not esotericism, it is neuroscience and spirituality working together. Your first 20 minutes are the foundation of your day. Instead of allowing the world to set your frequency, you set it, anchored in the source of all peace. Surrender is not an act of giving up or passivity. On the contrary, it is the most active and powerful act you can do in the morning. To surrender is to take control of the only thing that is truly under your control, your attitude and your faith. When we talk about calibrating your mind to God's heart, we are building a solid bridge between your restless self and the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is done through 3 non-negotiable pillars. Pillar 1. Recognition. Who God is. Often, our morning prayer is a quick list of requests or complaints, but the most effective prayer begins with recognition. The difference between asking and giving thanks for identity. When you wake up and immediately think, "My God, I need patience for today," you are focusing on your lack. When you begin with acknowledgement, you think, "God, you are inexhaustible patience." You are shifting your focus from your limitation to His sovereignty and unlimited power. The 1-minute practice. In your first few minutes, don't ask for anything. Just declare God's identity in your life. Use the word intentionally instead of, "I'm afraid of the future." Acknowledge, "God, you are my rock and my refuge." Psalm 18:2. There is no fear in you. Instead of, "I am weak and tired for this journey," acknowledge, "God, you are my strength." Philippians 4:13. In you I can do all things. The mental effect. This intentional recognition fills the space that cortisol and anxiety try to occupy. You are feeding your subconscious, which is in the alpha state, with truths that are greater than your problems. You are not deceiving yourself. You are choosing greater reality to be your compass. Pillar 2, surrender, letting go of control. This is perhaps the most difficult pillar for the modern mind, addicted to control and planning. Surrender is the act of saying, I have done my part, now I trust you to do yours. The myth of total control. Anxiety is the result of trying to control the uncontrollable, the future, the choices of others, and the outcome of your actions. When you surrender, you are acknowledging your humanity. You are limited. You cannot see the future. Affirming faith in a higher power, you trust that the creator of the universe has a plan that unfolds in its own time. The 2-minute practice, letting go of the weights. Imagine that your mind is carrying a heavy backpack filled with all the worries of the day. Identify the weights. Mentally name or whisper your worries for the day, stress at work, a family member's health, the difficult conversation you need to have. Say to God sincerely, I surrender this concern into your hands. I trust in your care and your timing. I let go of control over what does not belong to me. Imagine taking your backpack off your back and gently placing it at the foot of a cross, or in the palm of a giant, welcoming hand. This act of surrender relieves physical tension in your shoulders, neck, and jaw, which are often tense with anxiety. Spiritually, you move your concern from your mind to divine providence. It is immediate and proven relief, as your nervous system understands that the emergency is over. Pillar 3. Trust in the plan. The third pillar transforms surrender from a one-time act into a continuous state of active trust. Renewal is the moment to fill the void left by worry with the certainty that the day will be good, not because everything will work out, but because God is in control of everything. Expectation of grace is when the believer does not expect the worst. He expects God's intervention and grace. Trust is not blind optimism. It is not saying that there will be no problems. Trust is assurance of companionship. It is being sure that, whatever the problem, you will not be alone. Isaiah 41:10. Another practice is the 2-minute receiving strength. Affirmation of power. Use faith-based statements. I clothe myself with God's strength and peace. I am guided by His wisdom every step of the way. Ask God to use you today. May my words be kind, my actions be just, and may I be a channel of your peace. Breathe in certainty. Take a few deep breaths, inhaling God's certainty and exhaling any lingering doubts. The motivational effect. Renewal is what transforms prayer from a moment of introspection to a rocket launch for your day. You come out of those 5 minutes not only at peace, but empowered and motivated to be the best version of yourself, because your battery has been charged at the source of unlimited energy. The transformative power of intentional gratitude. If surrender is about letting go of what worries us, gratitude is about filling that freed up space with joy and recognition of what is already good. Gratitude, in the context of faith, is not just a pleasant feeling. It is a spiritual weapon and a neuroscientific strategy for optimizing your life. It is the act of recognizing that life is not just about what is missing, but about the abundance that already exists. Many people associate gratitude only with big events, but intentional morning gratitude works best when focused on the details. Studies in positive psychology and neuroscience show impressive results in those who practice gratitude daily, increased dopamine and serotonin. When you actively think about something good, your brain releases dopamine, pleasure, and serotonin, well-being. This creates a reward circuit that encourages your brain to look for more things to be grateful for. Modulation of the prefrontal lobe. Gratitude activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the area associated with morality, emotion, and complex decision-making. In simple terms, gratitude makes you smarter, calmer, and kinder. Sleep and immunity. Grateful people report better sleep quality because their minds don't go to bed anxious, and a stronger immune system. The connection with faith. The Bible instructs us to give thanks in all circumstances, 1 Thessalonians 5:18. This is not optional advice. It is a mechanism for survival and prosperity. It is the act of declaring that the source of all blessings is faithful. regardless of the current situation. Gratitude as an act of faith and aligned thinking. When you thank God for past favors and present blessings, you are activating your faith in the future. Gratitude. Memory of faith. If you are able to look back and say, God sustained me through that difficulty, your faith is strengthened to say, He will sustain me through this difficulty. Gratitude is the fuel that feeds confidence. Here is a simple and straightforward format for your morning practice, a 5-minute gratitude script. 1. Be thankful for the basics. Don't start with miracles. Start with the obvious. Examples. Thank you for the warm bed, for the water I will drink, for the air I breathe, for the health that allows me to get up. This interrupts the cycle of complaining. 2. Be grateful for people. Focus on 1 or 2 people who do you good. Examples. Thank you for my child's laughter, for my spouse's patience, for faithful friendship. This activates love and connection. 3. Be grateful for difficulties. This is the advanced level. Be grateful for the strength that the difficulty has given you or for the lesson you have learned. Examples. Thank you for the difficulties at work because they are teaching me to be more patient and creative. You transform the problem into purpose. 4. Give thanks for future intervention. Active faith. Give thanks for something you haven't seen yet, but trust that God will do. Examples. Thank you for the door that will open today. Thank you for the solution you already have for my problem. Thank you for the peace I will have at the end of this day. This is prophesying your faith. The impact. This intentional script moves you from superficiality to depth. In 5 minutes, you go from a mindset of what I have to do to how blessed I am. Intentional gratitude is not passive. It should lead us to action. When you recognize God's abundance in your life, first thing in the morning, you become a channel for that abundance. If you feel gratitude for kindness, you feel motivated to be kind to the first stranger you meet. If you feel gratitude for your strength, you feel encouraged to use that strength to help someone who is weak. Morning prayer does not end when you say Amen. It manifests itself in your choices, your words, and your mood. By combining surrender, letting go of the weight, with gratitude, receiving lightness, you calibrate your mind to operate on the frequency of peace and power. So far, we understand why the first few minutes are vital and what the spiritual pillars of surrender and gratitude are. Now, let's turn this theory into a practical, simple, and foolproof method that you can apply in your real life, even on the busiest days. This method is called 5 to 10, 5. It strategically uses the 20-minute window to ensure you don't lose your mind's alpha state. The first 5 minutes. The awakening of consciousness. The goal here is to shift from automatic sleep mode to intentional presence mode. The key is to avoid your cell phone and any sources of stress, news, emails, social media, during this period. Place your alarm clock away from your bed. This forces you to get up, breaking the cycle of vicious snoozing and immediate contact with your cell phone. Drink water and breathe, then take 3 deep breaths. Intention. I am present in this moment. Before thinking about problems, your first word should be thank you. For life, for a night's sleep, for the opportunity of another day. Declare a simple truth. For example, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118:24. By controlling these 5 minutes, you prevent the cortisol spike, stress, from being directed toward the chaos of your schedule and direct it toward peace. You are giving the first word to God, not to the world. The central 10 minutes. These are the sacred minutes where surrender and gratitude meet and you perform calibration in the heart of God. The ideal setting, your secret place. Choose a quiet place where you can sit, not lie down, comfortably, but without distractions. Declare God's identity in your life. Actively surrender the 2 to 3 biggest concerns of the day and say, I let go of control and trust. Give thanks for the basics, for people, for difficulties, lessons, and for future intervention, active faith. Say, I see abundance, not scarcity. Receive God's strength. Ask for wisdom to use your words and actions. Transition from prayer to action. Repeat, I am capable and guided. During this period, You are taking advantage of the alpha state to inject profound truths into your subconscious. You are deactivating stress mode, cortisol, and activating well-being mode, serotonin, dopamine. Your mind is literally being reprogrammed for faith. You have completed your spiritual calibration. Now you must transition to the tasks of the day, but in an intentional, not reactive manner. Planning 3 priorities. Don't look at the entire list. Look only at the 3 most important things you need to accomplish. This prevents overload. Have focus, not chaos. The choice of kindness. Set a simple goal. Who can I bless today? It could be a smile for a colleague, a word of encouragement. Intention. Be a channel, not a container. Now check your cell phone, but with a mental filter. Is this information useful or just noise? Stay focused on your 3 priorities and your kindness goal. The benefit. You start your day with a shield of peace, the fruit of surrender, and a lens of optimism, the fruit of gratitude. You are no longer a slave to your schedule, but an administrator guided by peace. The distraction of your phone. If the temptation is too great, use blocking apps that only allow social media and news after 8 a.m. The late day. If you overslept and only have 5 minutes, don't skip prayer. Just do the 5-minute core, surrender and gratitude expressed, while getting dressed. The important thing is the intention, not perfection. Doubt, weak faith. Remember, your practice is not based on how you feel, but on what is true, the pillar of recognition. Keep doing it, and your feelings will follow your action. The 5-10-5 method is your roadmap for transforming a chaotic start to the day into a positive launch. The 5-10-5 method is powerful, but we are human. There will be days when the alarm clock doesn't go off, stress hits you before you even get out of bed, or doubt sets in. Is this morning prayer really working? Faith is not the absence of doubt or bad days. It is the persistence of seeking God, even when the connection seems to fail. The biggest threat to your morning routine is perfectionism, followed by guilt. The danger of the all or nothing mindset. If you plan to do 20 minutes of surrender and gratitude, but on one morning you only manage 2 minutes, what happens? Many people think, I've lost. Since I didn't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. This is a trap. The solution, the 0 rule and the minimum viable. The goal is not to be perfect, it is to never have a 0 day. If you only have 60 seconds while brushing your teeth, use that time for Pillar 1, acknowledgement, and Pillar 3, renewal. Example, God, you are my strength, I receive your peace now, Amen. Minimum viable faith, redefine what success is. Success is not the length of the prayer, it is the intention to prioritize God, even if only for a minute. By applying the 0 rule, you maintain consistency. Consistency, not sporadic intensity, is what reprograms your brain and spirit, reinforcing the alpha state. When prayer seems unanswered, one of the greatest difficulties in devotional life is the feeling of talking to an empty space. You give up your worries, Pillar 2, but they come back. You ask for peace, but anxiety persists. This feeling usually comes from a mistaken expectation. We expect prayer to be a button that solves problems instantly. Prayer as an internal calibrator. The primary goal of the 5 minutes is not to change the circumstance, but to change your heart and your perspective on the circumstance. Prayer that works. God, I don't see the solution, but I trust in your wisdom. Prayer that fails. God, give me the solution I want right now. Reread the science. Remember that you are changing your brain chemistry. It takes time and repetition, consistency, for cortisol to drop sustainably and serotonin to rise. Return to gratitude. When doubt strikes, force yourself to return to gratitude. Giving thanks shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present. Gratitude is the test that your faith is stronger than your frustration. Use the community. Faith is not meant to be lived in isolation. Share your struggles with a trusted friend or spiritual leader. The other person's prayer may be the push your faith needs that day. How to deal with intrusive negative thoughts. You're there, trying to make the delivery, but your mind is invaded by a negative thought about a coworker, a frustration from the previous day, or severe self-criticism. The mental battle and the anchor of truth. This is normal. The brain is a thought machine. The secret is not to stop the thought, but not to follow it. Recognize and rename. Recognize the thought. This is just a thought of criticism, fear. Don't judge yourself for having it. Use the anchor. Immediately use the anchor you established in the 5-minute calibration. If the thought is one of fear, use the anchor. Pillar 1, recognition. God is my rock. If the thought is one of anger, use the anchor. Pillar 3, renewal. I receive the kindness of Christ and choose to be kind now. The effect of reorientation. Prayer and faith act as a powerful magnet that quickly reorients your mind's compass toward truth and peace. You train your brain not to fall into the hole of negative thinking. Each time you reorient, you strengthen the muscle of your spiritual discipline. The days of struggle are the days that strengthen your faith the most. Faith that persists in the midst of difficulty is the faith that moves mountains. Don't give up on your morning calibration, even on days when you can barely press the alarm button. Let's recap the simplicity and depth of the steps that are now part of your routine. The key. We understand that the first 5 to 20 minutes are the golden window of your day, setting the emotional and mental tone. The science. You have discovered that seeking God in the alpha state and combating cortisol is not just faith, it is intelligent biology. You are acting on principles that work. Surrender. You have mastered the 3 pillars of surrender: acknowledgement, surrender, renewal. Learning to let go of the burden of control and anchor yourself in God's sovereignty. Gratitude. You have used intentional gratitude as a biological antidote, reprogramming your brain for abundance and strengthening your faith in the future. The method. You have the 5-10-5 method at your fingertips, a simple, practical, and busy day-proof roadmap that turns prayer into a sustainable habit. Persistence. You have learned to apply the 0 rule and refocus your mind when doubt or stress try to hijack your peace. The big secret is not in the complexity of prayer, but in the consistency of intention. Remember, your morning calibration is not an isolated event. It is the launch of your day. The real test of your faith and your calibration comes at 2 p.m. when work stress hits, or at 6 p.m. when you're tired and your patience is wearing thin. What you did in the first 5-20 minutes serves as an anchor. When the day pulls you into chaos, you'll have a fresh memory of the peace you experienced. Short, mini 5 minutes. Throughout the day, use short breaks, in traffic, in line, before a meeting, to do a mini pillar 2, yield. Give the stress of that moment to God. The testimony of peace. Your life is proof that the method works. Let your patience, kindness, and focus be a silent testimony that you sought the right source in the morning. You have discovered that the power to transform your life does not lie in a giant event, but in the discipline of a small, sacred moment. The awakening of faith is a daily invitation to operate from the heart of God. Starting today, you are not just facing the day, you are creating it with peace, purpose, and power. Your journey of faith and focus does not have to be a lonely one. If this meditation has given you the map to a calmer and more productive day, I ask 2 things of you. Leave your like on this video. This shows me that we are on the right track to spread this message of peace. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below telling me, which pillar, surrender or gratitude, will you start using tomorrow morning? By subscribing, you join our continuous awakening community, receiving your next dose of motivation and calibration. We have reached the end of this practical journey. If you have applied what you have learned, you are no longer just waking up. You are awakening. You have exchanged the chaos of autopilot for an intentional calibration that aligns your mind, body, and spirit with the source of peace. I'm grateful for your presence, and I will see you in the next video.